Oh, God, you have great questions.
Again, who in the hell writes these questions? I know you do, but my God, these are great.
Wow. I thought this was going to be an easy question. Usually you get to the last question. It's like, just take it home. That is a really good question. So,
hello and welcome to Tiny Giants, the creator economy show where the focus is on career over celebrity. This is the show where I reach past social media stardom to focus on the careers and market trends that make the creator economy just that, an economy. We do this by highlighting and uplifting niche-specific creators that the uninitiated doesn't necessarily have a concept of or full appreciation for, or as we like to call them, tiny giants. You ready? Let's go. So happy New Year, folks. Happy 2023. If you are listening to this as it drops, if you're listening to it afterwards, hello from the past. I am your host, T. Adeola, your favorite former 400-pounder getting you fit on all things creator economy. And one of the things that I want to accomplish with this show is I really want to be the Anthony Bourdain of the creator economy and marketing technology. So just to unpack that a little bit, for those who don't know, Anthony Bourdain was a chef and TV host who made it a point to travel to places that were not tourist traps, or if he did go to a tourist trap, he would make it a point to actually go into the neighborhoods and go have a meal at somebody's grandmama house, right? Go past all of the what the tourism board wants you to see and get to how the actual people in that country live on a day-to-day basis. And that was something that was sorely needed in the travel space. Because I mean, my man will go to like Nigeria and the Congo and like places like that, places that you didn't regularly see on Travel Channel. Now, when I first got introduced to Anthony Bourdain, he was on the Travel Channel at that time. I started watching Anthony Bourdain, No Reservations. But prior to that, he had a show called A Cook's Tour. And then after his time at the Travel Channel, he went over to CNN and did Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. So that was Anthony Bourdain's shtick. That was his angle. That was his point of view. I'm going to go past the tourist traps and I'm going to go to places that other people aren't willing to go. And I'm going to tell stories that other people don't necessarily want to tell, but need to be told. And that's the approach. That's the lens. That's the view that we are going to take with Tiny Giants. We are going to reach past the celebrity of being TikTok famous or IG famous or, having X amount of followers. We're going to get past all that and get to what it actually takes to have a career in this space. Because something that I've observed with how the youth are approaching the creator economy is they usually approach it through one of two lenses. They usually approach it through the lens of celebrity or art. And it's not that that's incorrect, but that it's incomplete. So how this show is going to go is that I'm going to release twice a week. On Tuesdays, it's going to be just me, where I'm going to cover a topic that I think should be on everyone's radar as it pertains to the creator economy. And Thursdays are going to be our interview days, where we speak to the tiny giants directly. So the sort of foundational stats on which this show is founded, there are two of them. The first stat being a study conducted by Lego and Harris Poll that found that 3 times as many children ages 8 to 12 want to be YouTubers than astronauts. Follow that up by 2022 research from Adobe, and this is a global study from Adobe. They surveyed 6 countries around the world and found that almost 50%, 49% of Gen Z intend to pursue content creation as a career. So the youth have spoken. And content creation it is. So this show is meant to be a resource for parents, teachers, and young people themselves who are planning to enter the creator economy to make sure they have all of the tools and the proper mindset and the proper perspective to go and grow in this burgeoning economy. So how these solo episodes are going to go, it's going to be 4 sections. The first is where I just sort of bring you the news or talk about stats or trends that I think need to be on your radar. Segment number 2 is going to be a MarTech moment, where I briefly talk about some marketing technology. Then we're going to take a short break to pay them bills, aka a commercial break, because we do air on the Marketing Podcast Network, so we are sponsored. And then coming back from the break, we're going to jump into our Creators Crushing It segment. This is the segment I think you all are going to like. So I'm going to hop on over to a creator's profile, and I'm just going to do a quick and dirty analysis of what they got going on and highlight and spotlight these creators that are crushing it that I know our youth aspire to. And then the final segment is going to be our parental perspective, where I personally or some other parent who has some salient information to pass on is going to come and give us some closing words. All right. So that's how it's going to go. News, MarTech moment, creators crushing it, and then the parental perspective. So without further ado, let's jump on into the first segment, news. So circling back around to the Adobe stat that found that 49% of Gen Z intend to pursue content creation as a career. If I was in charge of curriculum in these countries, no one would be able to graduate with a diploma, either high school or college, without reading The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. The E-Myth by Michael Gerber is an entrepreneurial classic that basically says that, there's this entrepreneurial myth that because I like doing something, I'll do what I love and get paid to do what I love. And again, not incorrect, but is incomplete. And if memory serves, the example he uses in the E-Myth is of a cupcake bakery. So this person loves baking cupcakes and people love eating their cupcakes because cupcakes are delicious. And so they decide to open up a cupcake bakery, and they are quickly overwhelmed with business operations because now they have to worry about making rent, making payroll, taxes, zoning, all of the ancillary things that come with owning a bakery above and beyond making the actual cupcakes. And the trap that a lot of people fall into is they think, oh, I'm just going to do this thing and make a living at it because I love it. And they are not at all prepared for the business operation side of the equation. And this is what gives me pause about that Adobe stat, because I think far too many of our youth are going into this thinking that they want to be the next Mr. Beast or Chandler or whoever is the influencer of their choice. Mariah Elizabeth, my daughter loves that channel, but they don't actually have a full appreciation of the digital business operation side of the fence and what it actually takes to make something like that work. So that's the gap that we're going to fill with this podcast. So let's jump into our first talking point. So back in April of last year, April of 2022, LinkTree released its 2022 creator report, and it had insights and data from more than 9,500 creators across the globe. So a significant sample size. And according to the data, there are more than 200 million individuals using their influence, creativity, or skills to aggregate and monetize their audience. So how they define a creator, there are 200 million people globally that fit that description. So just some key highlights and stats from that report, which I will link up in the show notes. 70% of creators earn less than 10% of total income from brand partnerships, and working with brands is neither a reliable nor a consistent stream of revenue for most creators. Nearly 70% of creators have not completed any brand partnerships on their social channels, and 53% of creators earn under $100 from a single brand collaboration. So that's some sobering stats, kids. And again, this is not, the intent here is not to rain on a young person's parade or anyone who wants to pursue the creator economy as a career. However, I feel as though I would be doing you a disservice if we did not highlight these facts and findings. So more findings, more creators are realizing the value of connecting with an engaged audience united by unique interests. So 66% consider themselves niche creators, or niche if you're fancy. 7% of niche creators earn over $100,000 per year versus 5% of non-niche creators. 37% of niche creators had a brand collaboration versus 26% of non-niche niche creators. So the numbers support the wisdom of niching down, right? Because niching is the answer to oversaturation. If you have an oversaturated market, the answer is to carve out a unique position that other people are not approaching. Diving right back in, 59% of beginner creators have not monetized yet. So almost 60% have not monetized. Just 6% of beginner creators have earned over $10,000, and 12% of full-time creators earn over $50,000 a year. So there's significant opportunity there, as most people have not monetized yet. However, only 12% of creators earn more than $50,000 a year. So again, marinate on that. This is not a scared straight or a Debbie Downer sort of thing, but I really do want you to take these stats into consideration, right? Because on the one hand, it's easier than ever to become a creator. And then the flip side to that coin is that it's easier than ever to become a creator. And so, as Casey Neistat said on a podcast interview I saw on the Rich Roll podcast, I don't see more great stuff. I just see more stuff. 36% of creators have only been creating for less than a year, and newbies see TikTok as their largest platform. And rounding out the stats, because I'm not gonna go through everything stat by stat, but a couple more stats I think should be on your radar that you really need to think through is that, when you are a creator, you are the product. So some sobering stats around burnout. Full-time creators feel burnout the most, with 13% saying they're extremely or consistently stressed versus 9% of part-time creators. And 39% of creators report consistently taking measures to relieve stress, right? So I'm going to link up the complete 2022 creator report by LinkTree. It's some phenomenal research. Now, with that being said, that's serving as our base. So I want to pair that with an article from Workweek by Adam Ryan from September of 2022 titled, "Is the Creator Economy Cratering?" And I'm just going to read a quick excerpt from it. Maven, the edtech startup that raised $25 million from Andreessen Horowitz, announced a significant pivot. They're moving their platform more towards industry experts and less away from influencers. Quote, "We had the hypothesis that a creator with a big audience will have a great course and will be able to fill it. And we were surprised that this hypothesis was wrong." End quote. That was from Wes Cowell, co-founder of Maven. Then there's this chart that lists the companies, their revenue, their payout to creators, and the payout to the top percent of creators. So Spotify had a revenue of $11.4 billion and paid out $7 billion in royalties, so just over half. But of that half, it paid out to creators. 11.2% went to the top 10% of creators. YouTube had revenue of $28 billion and paid out $15 billion to the top 2% of its creators. So, and again, YouTube pays out about half of what it brings in. So Substack, and this one is crazy, Substack brought in $9 million in revenue and paid out $81 million to creators, and 22.2% of that went to the top percent of creators. So Substack is in trouble. Substack is underwater, right? You only made 9 and you paid out 81. That is not sustainable. Maven ain't doing much better than Substack. They doing better, but not much better. Maven has a gross market value of $9 million and paid out $8.1 million. Almost everything it's bringing in is paying right back out. Right. The point of this article, the lion's share of the money is going to the top percentages of the creators. And this is substantiated by the LinkTree research, which found that, most creators have small audiences and they don't make a full-time living. So this is in stark contrast to the 49% of Gen Z that want to be creators as a career. Like the math ain't mathing. So a little further down, there's a heading that says, "What can companies learn from Mr. Beast?" And there's a screenshot that says intention versus attention, right? So attention is when your audience takes notice of you. Intention is when your audience is willing to take an action for you, right? That's a subtle but important distinction. So attention is cheap. Intention is hard to gain. And that's the difference between someone like PewDiePie and someone like Mr. Beast. So PewDiePie has about 7 million more subscribers than Mr. Beast, but only brought home about $4 million last year, which is 8% of what Mr. Beast brought in. For those who don't know, Mr. Beast is like the marquee YouTube / influencer success story, right? And before Mr. Beast, there was PewDiePie. And then going toward the end of this article, there's a quote that says, "The problem is that the companies created to support that growth chose the wrong problem to solve. Too many Excel jockeys were thinking, quote, if we have X amount of subscribers and we make it easy to sell Y product, then we can easily make X number of dollars by converting X percentage. As Maven realized, that formula isn't so easy to bring to life. You need to have audiences with real intention. You can't assume everyone has 1,000 true fans. You have to help them get to 1,000 true fans to scale. So let's say goodbye to the attention economy and hello to the intention economy." And again, this is an article by Adam Ryan from Workweek, which we'll link up in the show notes. Now it's time for our MarTech Moment segment. So MarTech is just an umbrella term that stands for marketing technology, and it's all of the technology used to achieve marketing objectives. So Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing, location for Foursquare, that all falls under the umbrella of MarTech. So it's fitting that in today's MarTech Moment, we'll discuss LinkTree. LinkTree enables creators, brands, artists, publishers, agencies, and businesses of all sizes to curate an online ecosystem, engage with their audience, and monetize their passion. LinkTree is among the top 300 most popular website destinations globally, with 1.2 billion unique visitors a month. In 2021 alone, LinkTree enabled over 1 million artists to generate 90 million visits to streaming platforms, twice as many artists and 3 times as many clicks as in the year prior. The platform is utilized by more than 24 million creators, artists, and brands globally, including TikTok, Selena Gomez, Noah Beck, Red Bull, Shawn Mendes, the Los Angeles Clippers, Comedy Central, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and HBO. And so there you have it. LinkTree is today's spotlight for our MarTech Moment. So let's take a quick break to pay some bills, and then we'll be right back with our Creators Crushing It segment. Welcome to our Creators Crushing It segment, where we highlight some tiny giants getting their fee, 5-4 on, So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a quick and dirty analysis of this YouTube channel and how much money it makes. So for those who don't know, YouTube will pay you $3 to $5 per 1,000 views, because YouTube pays out almost called a cost per mil or cost per 1,000 view basis. So for every 1,000 views that your YouTube channel generates, YouTube will pay you $3 to $5. And today, for the very first one, we are going to highlight ABD, Anime Balls Deep. I'm so excited for this one. So this is the YouTube channel Anime Balls Deep, and they have 1.61 million subscribers. So they are in the coveted 1 million subscriber club. So rare air that they breathe. So this is, by all standards of measure, a very successful YouTube channel. But what I like about Adil and Yusuf is that they are very transparent about the trajectory that they took, right? So they highlight by date. So they opened this YouTube channel January 9th, 2014. So as of this recording, 9 years ago, almost 10 years in, it took them a year to get, over a year to get their first 1,000 subscribers. And then they doubled that in February of that year. And then by May of that year, they had 4,000 subscribers. And then, by the end of that year, they had 100 and they went from 1,000 to 100,000 in a year. So yeah, so it took them 1 year to go from 0 to 1,000, but in that 1 year in 2015, they went from 1,000 to 100,000, and then their trajectory to 150,000 the following year, 200,000, 50,000 2017, 300,000 and 400,000 in 2018, and by 2019 they have 500,000 subscribers, and as of this recording they have 1.61 million subscribers. And so this YouTube channel has generated 437,941,117 views, right? So almost 500 million views they've generated in the 10 years that they've been doing YouTube, almost 10 years that they've been doing YouTube. And I did the maths because, Adil and Yusuf are from the United Kingdom. They say maths over there across the pond. But assuming that YouTube split the difference and paid them $4 per view on the 437,941,000 views that this channel has produced, they have been paid $1.751 million by YouTube. And if you look at just the videos that they've recently done, on average, they're averaging right around, and I'll go back a month, and I did this math ahead of time just to expedite the process, but they're averaging right around 332,000 views per video. Some get more, some get less, but on average for the last month, they've averaged 332,000 views per video. But here's what I want you to pay attention to, and here's what I want to highlight. They pop these out every other day or so. So over they put out 4 videos in 7 days, and they go at the cadence of about once every other day. So they produce about 19 videos over the course of a month, and the average video gets 332,000 views. And again, at $4 per 1,000 views, the average video makes them about $1,288 per video. And again, they're pumping this out every other day almost, right? These 19 videos on average of 332,000 views per video has produced 6,321,000 views and grossed $25,284 in a month. Now, that's just the AdSense. That's just what YouTube paid out. That does not include their merch. That does not include any sponsorships or collaborations. That does not include any of the speaking engagements. That does not include anything. That is simply the monetization on YouTube only. This channel makes about $25,000 a month. So conservatively, if we double that, let's just say the business as a whole makes $50,000 a month. Now, the reason this is important, what I want to highlight here, is that this is Adil. Adil failed his exams and did not get into medical school. And both Adil and Yusuf are Asian. I don't know where exactly they're from. I don't just want to, offhandedly say they're from Pakistan or whatever, but they're from somewhere in Asia. And for those of you who don't know, Asian parents don't play. Right. So I have a couple of friends of mine who are doctors, and like, no lie, if an Asian kid gets a 98 on the test, their parent will fight the teacher over those last 2 points. Like, why didn't my child get 100? Like they don't play about that. So because he didn't get into medical school, and again, clearly he's crushing it. They wouldn't be on this segment if they weren't crushing it. They're absolutely crushing it. Do you know that Adil's parents are still giving him grief for not being a doctor? Right. So, and this is not an attempt to drag Adil's parents. I would never do something like that. I want to have Adil and Yusuf on the show in the future. But I just want to highlight this is why I do this. And this is why Tiny Giants podcast exists, because I want parents to understand the opportunity there and that their child really can make a living at this. Because again, imagine how that feels. And Adil and Yusuf talk about this, like, clearly they're successful. Clearly they're crushing it. Hell, they make more than a medical doctor, because most doctors don't make $50,000 in a month. And there's more to it than that, right? Because they have a team. There's Adil, there's Yusuf, there's also Harrison, and the fourth person's name escapes me at the moment. And they have an editor, and so they have expenses. They have to pay these people, but seriously, like 50 grand a month, that ain't nothing to sneeze at. But all his parents can talk about is how he's not a medical doctor, right? So we want to try to get away from that. And we want to try to, celebrate people and give them their flowers while they're here. So for our first Creator Crushing It segment, salute to the good folks over at Anime Balls Deep. Y'all are killing it. I enjoy your content. That concludes our very first Creator Crushing It segment. And so that was our first Creators Crushing It segment. Hope you enjoyed it. So now it's time to wrap up with our parental perspective from yours truly. And all I want to say is read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. That it was written prior to the creator economy really blowing up, but the wisdom therein is just as solid as the day it was written. And being a full-time creator is definitely possible. There's no doubt about that. However, it is going to take more than just doing the thing. You also have to know how to build a business and market that business, as well as the several, digital business operation things that come with that. So I'm here to help, and so are the guests I bring on. So with that, we want to thank you for both your attention and intention in listening to this podcast, and we'll talk soon. Tiny Giants is an audio companion to, and the first chapter of, my first book, Beyond Buzzwords. Social media, mobile, and other marketing buzzwords ain't the half of it. Available on Amazon. If you enjoyed this podcast, chances are good you'll like the book too. I'm proud to say that while the book has aged, it's not dated. Sure, some examples could be freshened up, but strategically, it's as rock solid as the day it was written. Not every author can say that. I encourage you to pick it up and leave me a rating and review. It really helps. I have like 1 rating on that book from my mom because she loves me, and I'm positive that you'll love it too. Head on over to tinygiants.tech for more episodes and whatever else I have going on. While you're there, leave me a voicemail with your question, comment, or feedback for improvement. I may play that voice recording on a future episode as I answer your question or address your concern. If you, your company, or school needs help with college, career, and creator readiness strategy, or to book me to speak, drop me a line at t@tinygiants.tech. If you or someone you know is doing big things in small or not so small niches, or as we like to call them, tiny giants, and they will make a great guest for the show, email me at t@tinygiants.tech. Thanks for listening, and remember, you get big by going small, but to prioritize career over celebrity. But no matter what you choose, know that I'm rooting for you.